Well, good morning, buenos dias, malo unjani, bon dia, goedemorgen. Good morning, everyone. Let's see who else watching. If you can scroll to the top for me, please. Miss Dawn, Miss Kay, Miss Sharon, Miss Mallory, Miss Lisa, Miss Xavier. Thank you all for hopping on. I see other people hopping on. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from. Good morning, Miss Dolores. Good to see you on here. Lindsay, shouldn't you be like interning right now instead of sitting around? Good grief. Tell you what, these Bible school students. Watching from Tampa. Yes, we know the armpit of America. Hope it's treating you well and you're not sweating too much with the most humid climate in the world. So anyone else watching, let me know from home office. We are continuing our elongated series due to ice and the birth of a child. So something we should have had done last week. We are continuing this week. And let me just say this. Thank you to everyone. My wife is working on thank you cards for the ones that she has recorded. But thank you to everyone that gave to us, whether it be a gift for the baby shower, whether it be in the offering. I don't have record of who all gave in that, so thank you very much. Good morning, Miss Tal. Good morning, Miss Donna, Miss Stephanie, Miss Michelle. Or if you have given us meals or anything else, or if you've come to check on Brooklyn and brought her something, thank you so much. Those of you that didn't know, we did have our child, Eden Ray Seise. She was born Tuesday morning at midnight 26. And then my 15-year-old daughter, who likes the attention, was like, no, there is no way someone's getting more attention than me. So if like 15 hours after Eden was born, she decided to break her tibia and fibula at the same time, needing surgery Wednesday morning. So we just had a big party at the hospital with the whole family other than Seth at the hospital. Seth had to stay home to watch the dogs. Good morning, Joel. So it has been a busy week. Good morning, Elder Barbara. But thank you to everyone that has given in any capacity. We truly appreciate you. We truly pray over your seeds that you have sown and command them to produce a harvest as the word tells us they will. So thank you, guys. Good morning, Krista. Good to see you. So thank you, everyone. So here we are. Part 3 of the love of Christ, truth and compassion. The very first week we looked at Proverbs 31 and how it doesn't just apply to a biblical wife, but it actually applies to how we, the bride of Christ, are to act, how we, as the bride of Christ, kind of have like a command or a direction, the way our life should be lived from the Lord. Week 2, we talked about the compassion of Christ and how he directed that at certain people. He directed that at the lost and the hurting. And this morning, what did I title it, Ms. K? Jesus' take on discipleship. Jesus, how many of you have ever, we're just going to get real today. How many of you have ever worn a WWJD bracelet? I'll be the first one to say I did. In high school, I wore it. And not that I have anything against it, but I just think the perception of how Jesus acted all the time is a little misconstrued. So Miss Kay wore them. And there's nothing wrong with them. If you're gonna wear it, then act like Jesus. That's all I'm saying. So, Miss K, I guess it was just you and I that wore them. So, all right, well, here we go. We're just going to get into it. We're going to start, and we're going to go from there. I saw a comment post up that I can't see somewhere. I thought I saw Heath comment, but I don't see it. I got a notification for it, but I don't see it on the comments. So I don't know if I should actually greet him or not. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, here it is. Good morning. Congratulations on the new baby, but it's not in the comments.
Oh, wait, maybe this is it coming up. No?
There was a necklace? I didn't know that. Wow. Joel's going all out. Leviticus. There. Now it shows that he just popped on. Okay. So we'll greet him in just a second. Good morning, Heath. Good to see you. Miss you. Leviticus, we were actually just talking about you, but I won't tell you what about. But this whole teaching is for Leviticus today. Not really, but it's for everyone. So we were talking about the truth part. The truth. Oh, it's over here. The truth part. Sorry. The truth part of of the love of Christ today. We are talking about Christ's relationship with his disciples, and a lot of people overlook this. I mean, if we're just real, people look at Christ as the guy carrying the lamb on his shoulders the whole time. They forget about him flipping over tables, calling a woman a dog. And before I got into this, because I knew this wouldn't, by most, it wouldn't be taken well. By those that actually like to see the word for what it is, it's no issue. Those people that have looked at Proverbs extensively will have no issues. Because I actually looked at Proverbs this morning. There are 23 Proverbs on correction. An additional 17 on rebuke. I mean, and let's just go through some of the ones on correction. He who hates reproof or correction shall die. That's Proverbs 15:10. Proverbs 6:23 says, correction is the way of life. 6:23. Proverbs 10:17. People who listen when they are corrected will live. Conceited people do not like to be corrected. And I think that nails it on the head. This is why a lot of people don't like to hear how Jesus talked to his disciples, because they have a pride issue. Most people like to say they're humble but do not like to be corrected. But if you don't like to be corrected, then look at the corrections that are already in the Word and correct yourself before you have to be publicly corrected. I mean, I would rather correct myself. That's what the Holy Spirit will correct you quickly. Quickly. You'll be praying and the Holy Spirit will be saying, oh yeah, what about that? And then you're like, oh yeah, you're right, 100%. And if you correct yourself in that manner, then you never have to worry about being corrected by a leader. And that's one of the most humbling things. There's been people, I've been in meetings with people that I absolutely love, that I would go to bat for. But when they're corrected by a leader on something that they can just lay right out there in front of them, there's nothing you can do for that person. So, correct yourselves, and you'll never have to get to the point where we're talking to today. All right, Luke 9:57 through 62. Here we go. And I find it very fitting that the title of this, you know how the New King James always has little titles above a lot of the sections. The title of this is The Cost of Discipleship. So that means there is a cost to it. So many people think discipleship is like, what is that saying? Like rainbows and, how's it go? Like a fairy tale, rainbows and roses, whatever the saying is. But I've told many people this. True discipleship gets ugly because it involves the person doing the discipling and the person's rainbows and unicorns. Yes, thanks, Jim. And it also involves the person being discipled. And it involves both of their lives completely laid out. The person, and this is the thing about discipleship. The person doing the discipling has to allow those that they're discipling see everything going on in their lives. Why? They have to be transparent, because that's how the person they're discipling learns how to deal with things. They see the person that is leading them go through trials, go through tests, go through storms, and come out successful. That's the only way. I mean, you think about it in life. How do you learn how to do stuff? How do you learn? By watching your parents, by watching those people that have gone before you. You learn how. One of the most brilliant things, and if Lindsay's still on, she'll get a kick out of this. One of the most brilliant things I heard in Bible school was from the leaders at the river. Said, look, no ministry is perfect because they are run by man. So while you're at Bible school, and you could say this about your parents, you could say this about any workplace, no matter how amazing the workplace is, no matter how amazing your parents were or still are, what this leader said was, not only while you're here do you look for things that you want to do when you have your own ministry, but also look for things you don't want to do. And that doesn't mean they were even done wrong. That just means the same way people have personality, ministries and churches have personalities. And not every personality works for every person. That's just like if you have multiple kids, not every correction system works for every kid the same way. One can respond to hard correction. The other one responds better to positive reinforcement. Different personalities respond differently. And I don't even know where I was going with that, but anyways, we'll just get into it. All right, Luke 9:57. Now it happened as they journeyed on the road that someone said to him, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. That's all of us, right? Lord, I'll follow you. How many of us have prayed that prayer? Lord, just tell me where you want me to go. I'll go where you want me to go. I'll say what you want me to say. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll give up anything you want me to. Good morning, Sylvia. And Jesus said to him, foxes have holes, and birds have air and of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then he said to another, follow me. But he said, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. This isn't even to the point of like these are people that literally just came to him, I want to follow you. And Jesus is like, okay, follow me. The guy said, well, already starting off with an excuse. Well, let me go bury my father first. Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and preach the kingdom of God. So his very first introduction to Jesus, of wanting to become a disciple of Jesus, is let the dead bury their own dead. Your job is now, if you actually want to be a follower of me, if you want to be my disciple, is to preach the gospel. Nothing else matters as much. That's what he's saying. It was his Father. Let the dead bury their own dead. And another also said, Lord, I will follow you, but first let me go bid farewell to them who are at my house. Let me go tell everyone bye first. There's no time for that. This is Jesus talking. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. And then this is what Jesus follows up with. After those two people gave these two excuses, good morning, Miss Marilyn, gave those two excuses, this is what he says. No one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. No one putting their hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Matthew 8:18 through 22. This is kind of the same interaction, but in Matthew. And when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave a command to depart to the other side. Then a certain scribe said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then another of his disciples said to him, Lord, let me first go bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me and let the dead bury their dead. Mark 14:22 through 31. Mark 14, 22 through 31. Now, and here's the thing we have to realize. People that are genuinely seeking after Jesus will not be offended by the truth. People who are genuinely seeking after Jesus, and just as Jesus just said, not turning back. People who are seeking him after full bore. These are the same people that will correct themselves, the ones that don't look back. The ones that look back are the ones that need correction. I mean, look at the two disciples that came to him. Oh, well, Lord, let me first go bury my dad. Already looking back. And Jesus corrected him. The other one, well, Lord, let me first go say bye to people. Then he has to correct them. Good morning, Jeff. Mark 14, 22 through 31. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Then he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank from it. And he said to them, "This is my blood, the new covenant, which is shed for many. Assuredly, I say to you, I will no longer drink of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "All of you will be made to stumble because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee." Peter said to him, "Even if all are made to stumble, yet I will not be." Jesus said to him, "Assuredly I say to you that even this night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. So even Jesus is correcting Peter. Mark 8, 13 through 21. And he left them, getting into the boat again, departed to the other side. Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, and they did not have more than 1 loaf with them in the boat. Then he charged them, saying, "Take heed, beware the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod." And they reasoned among themselves, saying, "It's because we have no bread." And this is Jesus' reply to his disciples, the ones that help him. But Jesus, being aware, said to it, "Why do you reason because you have no bread? Do you not perceive or understand? Is your heart not still hardened?" One translation says, "How is it that you don't understand yet? Is your heart still hardened? Can you not understand it? Having eyes, do you not see? Having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves to the 5,000? How many baskets full of fragments did you take up?" They said to him, 12. "Also, when I broke the 7 for the 4,000, how many large baskets full of fragments did you take up?" And they said, 7. So he said to them, "How is it that you do not understand?" So here, there's actually 2 rebukes in one right here. First of all, he's rebuking them for not understanding what he's teaching about. He's not even teaching about physical bread. He's actually teaching about polluting the word and polluting spiritual life. But then he also says, okay, if you're actually concerned about bread, do you not remember what I've already done? And let that be a rebuke to us this morning. Because how many of us in our prayer time, in our personal time, moan and complain, "Lord, aren't you?" I'll be the first one to admit I've done it. Moan and complain, "Lord, where are you? Lord, I've done this. I've done according to your word, but where are you?" Have we not remembered everything he's already done? One of the things he said to me in Bible school that I'll never forget is, look, if you're concerned about the mountain in front of you, look at the mountain range I've already brought you through. He's already done it hundreds of times. Why are we concerned about the one that's in front of us? Don't we remember his faithfulness? Don't we remember his goodness? If he's already done it once, he's going to do it again. For he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He does not change. His word cannot return void. Mark 8, 31 through 33. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He spoke this word openly. Then Peter took him aside. Peter took Jesus aside and tried to correct Jesus. This is funny. It says, Peter began to rebuke him. But when he had turned around and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter. Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. What did Peter do? Look at this. Then this is, I could end here on this. What did Peter do? Did Peter run away and pout and come tell people in the church how Jesus treated him? And then leave the church and then post on Facebook about how bad the church was because Jesus treated him bad and called him Satan? No, he didn't. He pursued Jesus even more. And then even after he denied Jesus, he repented and went after Jesus even more. That's how someone who has to receive correction turns into a leader. By repenting and getting it right. You don't become a leader by pouting and leaving the church and taking your junk to another church. Some people want to pout because of the way leaders treat them, but here's the thing about a spiritual leader that you don't understand. If you're not a spiritual leader, you don't understand this, and you will remain a non-spiritual leader as long as you don't understand this. Most spiritual leaders that I have talked to, and this is casually, this isn't something that we just like speak out to each other. It's just when you're speaking to another spiritual leader, it just kind of comes up. And we've basically, I was thinking about it this morning, every spiritual leader that I've talked to in depth has said at some point, whether I listen to their teachings, whether I have personal private conversations with them, whether it's at a group setting with other ministers, each and every one of them at some point in their life has prayed, Jesus, let me see people the way you see people. So the thing about a spiritual leader, why some of them are so hard on people, why some of them are so try to keep people in certain lanes, because what does the Bible say? Narrow is the lane to heaven, right? So the reason is, and this is what I loved about coaching, personal training, all of it. And you can apply this to coaching very easily. When you're an adult and you've played a sport for most of your life and you're coaching little kids, you can see their potential before they see their potential. And it's the same thing spiritual. As a spiritual leader, one of the giftings and callings and talents that God has put in our lives is to be able to see people's potential before they can see it. It is our job to prune and to shape and to mold that. I mean, it's amazing. We'll pay money to go to the gym to have someone do that to us and be mean to us, and we're okay with it. But spiritually, the most important thing in our life, when God places supernaturally, divinely, appoints people over our lives and in our lives to mold us and shape us. The first time we get put back in place or corrected a little bit, we want to whine and whinge and moan and pout. I would almost say some of the greatest leaders, I mean, look at Moses. Look at Paul. Some of the greatest spiritual leaders through time probably went through some of the greatest correction of all time as well. Some of the greatest, or even whether it be self-correction, whether it be Holy Spirit correction, whether it be outside correction from another spiritual leader. And this is why even your highest spiritual leaders that will stay there for a long period of time still submit themselves to other people. Still find other ministers that they can bounce things off of. You don't see great spiritual leaders being rogue people. They're not out there doing it by themselves. They're not lone wolves. Where were we? Matthew 16:21. We'll skip that. That's basically the same thing. Luke 9:37 through 56. Now it happened on the next day they had come down from the mountain, that a great multitude met him. Suddenly a man from the multitude crying out, saying, Teacher, I implore you, look on my son, for he is my only child. And behold, a spirit seizes him, and he suddenly cries out. It convulses him so that he foams at the mouth, and it departs from him with great difficulty, bruising him. So I implored your disciples to cast it out, but they could not. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation. So he rebukes his disciples and the whole generation at the same time. How long shall I be with you and bear you? How long do I have to put up with you? Bring your son here. And he was still coming. The demon threw him down and convulsed him. Then Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, healed the child, and gave him back to his father. It goes on. And they were all amazed at the majesty of God. But while everyone marveled at all the things which Jesus did, he said to his disciples, Let these words sink down into your ears. For the Son of Man is about to be betrayed into the hands of men. But they did not understand this saying, and it was hidden from them, so they did not perceive it. And they were afraid to ask him about the saying. So they decided to ask a stupid question. Or do something stupid. Then a dispute arose among them as to which of them would be the greatest. And Jesus, perceiving the thought of their heart, took a child and set him by him, and said to them, Whoever receives this little child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me, him who has sent me. For he who is least among you will be the greatest. And this is what's amazing about spiritual leaders as well. They can, at times, give a rebuke and it sounds smooth, it sounds gentle, but it's still a rebuke. Now we go on. Verse 49, Now John answered and said, Master, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him because he does not follow us. But Jesus said to him, Do not forbid him, for he who is not against us is on our side. Now it came to pass when the time had come for him to be received up, that he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face. As they went, they entered a village of Samaritans to prepare for him. But they did not receive him, because his face was set for the journey to Jerusalem. When his disciples James and John saw this, they said, Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, as Elijah did? But he turned and rebuked them, and said, You do not know what manner of spirit you are, for the Son of Man did not come to destroy men's life, but to save them. And they went to another village. Here's a good one right here. Mark 4:35 through 41. We all know this story. There are three different examples of it. Let's actually put all three in there. We're going to read the one from Mark. So Mark 35 through 41. Matthew 8:23 through 27. And yeah, just those two, sorry. So we will read the one in Mark 4. On the same day when evening had come, he said to them, Let us cross over to the other side. Now when they had left the multitudes, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already filling. But he was at the stern, asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? See, here they are pouting. Then he arose and rebuked the wind of the waves and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was great calm. But, notice the tone of this, because people like to think Jesus was gentle. There was great calm, but that means there is a change in atmosphere. But he said to them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, who can this be? Even the wind and the sea obey him. So how is it that Jesus challenged his disciples on their faith? But if a spiritual leader nowadays challenges their followers on their faith, they're harsh. How is it that when a spiritual leader quotes the word and encourages people to live according to the word, and that their confession, do I want to go here? That their confession is according to the word, because I'm going to go here, I don't care. Even in my wife's pregnancy, even in her labor, she set aside from the very beginning, because the word says, listen to this. It was because of the curse that labor pains came into being. Listen to what I'm saying. It was because of the curse that labor pains came into being. Do we as Christians live according to the curse? It's a simple answer, no. Any Christian should know that. But then why is it okay to confess things that belong to the curse over our lives? So whenever she got that revelation, and I allowed her to get this revelation for herself, because I can't give her that revelation. She has to have that revelation for herself. She's the one going through labor. She's the one going through the pregnancy, not me. And she got that revelation herself. So therefore, if she doesn't live under the curse, then the things that go along with the curse don't belong to her. So she confessed from the very beginning, I'm not going to have morning sickness. I'm not going to have cravings. My body's not going to go through a major negative transformation. My labor is going to be quick. My labor is going to be simple. My labor is going to be natural. I won't need an epidural. There will be no pain. That our baby will be perfect. And you know what? The funny part is she thought she could receive support from her fellow Christians. And she had to get to the point where she only shared it with a few people. Because there were only a few. How many people even in the church? And if this is you, take your own correction. If it's not, then don't take it. Whatever. I don't care. It's the word. That even people in the church were like, oh, girl, you're going to have pain. Oh, you're going to have all these cravings. Oh, you're going to gain a bunch of weight. You're going to get fat. You're eating for two. All this crap that doesn't line up with the word. So she basically had to close herself off to a lot of stuff and just basically shut her ears down for a while. And even on the day of the birth, she went into an appointment and they're like, yeah, today's the day. Okay, cool. We went home, we ate lunch, we did a couple errands, went back. We were chilling. And once we got to the hospital, we were just chilling there. Things weren't happening very fast, and she wasn't in pain. She was just hanging out. And then after the water was broken, then things started happening quickly. She literally pushed for like an hour. And her labor, by the time actually things started happening, labor was 4 hours, 5 hours, and nothing, no pain, literally no meds. She took one ibuprofen right afterwards. All the doctors and nurses were like, she looks like a C-section baby because her skin is perfect. She doesn't have any of the smushiness, no cone head, all of this. Everything that she prayed for. Everything that she prayed for came to pass. So this is what I'm saying in that. Rebuke yourself before you have to be rebuked. Because how many people came up to her and gave a negative confession over her? Rebuke yourself. Because we as spiritual leaders should be the ones encouraging people and encouraging them to believe in faith, encouraging them to believe in the word. The word works in all things, April. Yes, all things. But that we have to have a revelation of it for ourselves. And this is the thing. And I may be done teaching on whatever I'm supposed to be teaching on, because I'm just going to go here. We have to have the revelation ourselves. And that's what, like, in my wife's life, it's to the point where I can't give her revelation. She has to have revelation for herself. I could have said all these things to her, but she has to have the revelation. Husband and wife, one of you can have the revelation, but you can't do the work for the other one. And that's, many people think I'm harsh, and I don't care. That's fine. But the word is very black and white. I hate gray areas. The word is very black and white. And most people don't like the fact that I answer them back with the word. They think I'm being sarcastic. They think I'm being hard. The word is the word. Are we Christians or are we not? This is what we're supposed to be led by. This is what we rely on. This is what we fall back on. This is what we look forward to. This is everything in our lives. If everything in our lives isn't based around this, what are we doing? You're a fake Christian. Don't tell me you're living in faith, but you negate everything that is faith. If we rebuke ourselves, we don't have to be rebuked. And if you get rebuked by teaching, receive it. Where's the Proverbs? For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life. There's even I want to find it. There's even a Proverbs that tells us to love correction. To love correction. This is the problem whenever you just print verses off the internet. They always use like the stupid NIV Bible. That's a terrible translation. So the wording is off. He who refuses correction despises his own soul, but he who listens to reproof gets understanding. And I'll say that is one of the biggest reasons many Christians stay stagnant. They receive no further revelation. They receive no further understanding. They receive no further wisdom on the word because they are unwilling to receive correction from the word. It is in the correction that we receive from the word that we get more revelation. Because I can only understand point X if I understand everything before it. I can only get to P if I know M and O. If I don't know M and O, then how can I get to P? I have to receive correction on myself from the word. We have to get this word, get the hard part of it that says, hey, you need to fix this in your life, and go, yes, that's for me. Yes, I need to fix that. Yes, I'm going to correct it. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for showing it to me. Then if we correct ourselves according to the word, then we don't ever have to worry about being rebuked. Let me ask you this. For all those that are weak-minded. Thank you, Miss Amy. Proverbs 12:1. Who loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish. Would you rather be rebuked by someone that you don't even like me, or rebuked by Jesus on the day of judgment? I promise you, if you have to get rebuked on the day of judgment, you won't think people like me are harsh. Selah. And I'm not saying I go out seeking to rebuke people. That's not my aim. It's really honestly not my aim. And a lot of times, you can ask Miss Kay and Miss Amy, because we've had many in-depth conversations about anything and everything. Miss Kay's known me, most of my life now. Yeah, yeah. And Miss Amy's been on mission trips with me. Sometimes I will try to be as nice as I possibly can, and I'll even rebuke in jest. But there's a definite undertone in my tone that you know I'm being serious. But in no way, and I've had some very harsh meetings with people, and I've told them straight up, look, in no way am I doing this to just be bitter towards you. I am doing this because, like I said in the very beginning, part of a spiritual leader's responsibilities are to see past the now, to see that person's future, to see that person's potential in the Lord, to see the callings and giftings that the Lord has on them. So when someone is correcting you, if it's done rightly, if it's done according to, and listen to what I'm saying, if it's done according to the word, because there are people that take advantage of this. If it's done according to the word, you have to understand that any correction is done for your benefit. Any correction done according to the word is done for your benefit. We could keep going in my teachings, in the notes I have, but Jesus corrected his disciples over and over and over and over and over again, and he didn't sugarcoat his words. He didn't use a little bit of humor. He was straight. He called Peter Satan. He asked, why is it that you have no faith? How is it that you don't understand yet? So I guess my challenge to everyone today, for every Christian, whether you're watching live and you know me and you know my personality and you understand what I'm saying, or whether you don't know my personality, I don't care. But my challenge to every Christian is to, number one, correct yourself according to the word. Allow the word to correct your life. You're exactly right, April, but I'm glad you said it, because if I would have said it, people would say I'm comparing them to little children. But you are 100% right. It's okay for us as parents to do it for our children, but is it okay for those spiritual leaders that God has placed over us to do it to us? That's an awakening question to you. That question will slap you upside the face. As a parent, you have no problem correcting your children. But do you trust and will you allow the spiritual leadership that God has placed over you to correct you, or do you take it the wrong way? So yes, my challenge to you, number one, allow the word to correct your life. With that, you could say 1B, we'll just say point 2 for the ease of communication. Point 2, correct yourself. Correct yourself before you have to be corrected. What was that song? Check yourself before you wreck yourself? Wasn't that a song, or was that just an expression? Anyways, so check yourself before you wreck yourself. Number 2, correct yourself. And my final point for the day, number 3. Don't be a big baby. That's point number 3. Don't be a big baby. Don't have to wear adult diapers. Yeah, a big baby, like not big. Don't be a big baby. What do I mean by that? If you get correction by a teaching like this, or from anyone, or just from counsel, or from interaction or conversation with a spiritual leader, even another Christian, actually receive it. Receive it gladly. Like we saw in Proverbs, love correction. It says the Lord corrects those he loves. So gladly receive correction if it applies to you. And instead of pouting, go fix whatever it is. Don't be a pouter. That's it. That's what I have for you this morning. If you have any questions, I will take them quickly, because I don't have much time. It showed up there when you did it under YouTube, but it looks like you did it under YouTube and not Facebook. I don't know what that means. I've never seen it show up like that. So if you have any questions about what we talked about this morning, let me know. You should look at correction this way. When you allow yourself to be corrected, you can grow. I mean, it's kind of like this. Brooklyn just broke her leg. They had to drill into the top of her bone. Hammer, they called it a nail, it's a rod. Hammer a rod down into her bone. Put 2 screws in it so that the rod wouldn't twist. If they wouldn't have done that, they could. The doctor told me, the surgeon told me, we can allow it to heal on its own by itself, but you're talking a year-long process compared to a month or 2 process. But if that manipulation and correction of the bone wasn't put in place, then her leg wouldn't be as strong as it could be. Then her leg would always be weaker. And when we don't allow the correction in our lives, then we're actually allowing weaknesses to be exposed. We're actually allowing weaknesses to grow and rot and fester into our lives. Great analogy. Yeah, it's great for you. You were in surgery for 73 years. You used to operate on triceratops. That's to my mom. I'm about to look at it now. What do you do when you kindly correct someone with the word and they begin to get defensive and argumentative? You don't talk to them anymore. And that sounds harsh, but it's like, look, you have to make a point in your life. And April, as a spiritual leader, that happens to us like daily, like literally daily. People will come to you for counsel, and then they get mad that you gave them counsel. And they go and do the exact opposite of everything you told them. And then their life ends up absolute, a word I cannot say on here. And then they want to wonder why it happened. Well, because you didn't listen to anything that was said. You know, how many of you know John Maxwell? Probably one of the greatest, probably the greatest writer on leadership in our generation. He has an 80-20 principle. You spend 80% of your time on the 20% of people that actually listen and want to receive. You don't waste your time on those kind of people. And you should have friends and close. This is the thing, guys. You should have leadership around you that you have a good enough relationship with that they can come and correct you. And you're like, you know what? You are 100% right. Because I'll tell you what, as a leader, in the last 2 to 3 months, I've had to do this on multiple occasions. And one of them was like, you know what, Pastor Sean? You were 100% right. I'm going to get it fixed. And they got it fixed immediately. And they have been blessed because of it. I mean, their life has just taken off because of it. Then there's been others that have just gone complete backwards and like done the opposite of what they came and got counsel for. So, you can't argue with the word. The word is the word. You want to listen to it? It's up to you. If you don't want to listen to it, you had enough warnings. So, all right. Well, I love you guys. Leviticus, thank you for rebuking me last night. I appreciate it. We will see you in about an hour for prayer if you can be there. Not, if you have more questions, you can email me. Do you have my email address? Just throw it up. Seise. Seise@citcdallas.org. If you have any more questions later about that, you can always email me, and depending on what they are, I will talk about them on Livestream next week. Yeah, that'll work. If not, I'll email you privately. Oh, I was talking about you rebuking me for not being at the car show, but I mean, I did just have a baby and a daughter who broke her leg and had to have emergency surgery. I mean, no excuse though. Well, love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to be here Sunday. I'll tell you, this is one of those times in the life of Church in the City where you just don't want to miss a service. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, there's so much momentum and hunger here that you do not want to miss a service. And if you're okay with missing services, I mean, we missed, what did we miss? A Sunday and a Wednesday? Mm-hmm. And we snuck in, we tried to come in late last night and leave a little early. But it's like we didn't even want to be away. Like and I don't know that the baby will be here Sunday, but I'm sure I will be. Just because like this is not a time period in Church in the City that you want to be away. You need to be here at all costs. You need to be here. I'm not saying don't take a vacation every once in a while, but I am saying be here. So, are there any announcements I need to do? Do you have any? Oh, yeah, Scarlet Night, March 20th. So that's not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I know there is a City Young Adults Worship Night, the 26th. Men's D Group, Saturday, 7 to 8. Studying Why Tongues by Kenneth Hagin. Registration for Kids and Youth Fire Conference opens up on the 20th. So you can, those of you that have kids and are wanting to take them to Tampa, you can register then. You can also ask Miss Jen Lopez or Pastor Cotto for more details on that. I believe y'all have already had meetings and stuff, if I remember right. So, alrighty. We love you guys. We will see you Sunday. Don't forget D groups are still going. So, bye.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed today's service. You can always rewatch this message on Facebook and YouTube archives. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And for more information on events at Church in the City, visit our website at citcdallas.com.